Okay, good morning and welcome to this latest update on furlough leave. So we've had some further guidance out from HMRC yesterday afternoon, and this was actually some quite major advice and assistance, because up to now we've been dealing with guidance published by HMRC on their website, bizarrely advised published by their Twitter feed, and now we've had for the first time some formal instructions from Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, to HMRC in accordance with the Coronavirus Act, which fortunately largely confirms what we already knew, but we have now got some further changes which we thought we'd cover with you today. I'm just getting my slides up to help you. So the first thing that has changed, and one of the biggest changes, is that the qualifying date, so the date the individual, the employee, had to be working for you or on your payroll, has changed from the 28th of February to now being the 19th of March. That's obviously a major change. There have been a lot of people who were previously let go or made redundant because they were moving jobs but fell down between this in this gap. And their estimates are somewhere in the region of about 200,000 people may have been affected by that. So they have listened, they have shifted that date. Now that you must, as the employer, have submitted real-time payroll information on those individuals by that date, but that does bring in more people into scope, which is a positive. We've also had confirmation that the qualifying individuals are not, so it's not limited to those who would otherwise have been made redundant. You can furlough anybody who has been impacted by reason of circumstances arising from coronavirus. And again, that is a much wider definition than we had it. Certainly originally, it has sort of developed and loosened over time, but now this has been confirmed. So it is not people who would otherwise be made redundant. It can be anyone within your business if you've been affected, even though you would look to maybe bring them back or move their roles. Now, in terms of directors, one of the surprising elements of this scheme is that directors can furlough themselves. However, it's been confirmed that if they do so, they can only undertake very restricted levels of work. Those effectively set out in Acts of Parliament. So things like submitting accounts, very high level supervisory stuff. They are not allowed to work in the business day to day. They're not allowed to deal with customers or particularly deal with employees. They've got to walk completely, almost completely away. That is in practice going to be very hard to do for a lot of directors, and is going to suck a lot of directors out of this scheme. One of the biggest changes and one of the biggest headaches that this is likely to cause for many employers is the need now to have a written agreement with the employee. Previously, the guidance from HMRC was that you needed to notify the employee in writing of an agreement you had previously had through a conversation or what have you. Now it looks like you do need to have written confirmation from the employees that they agree to be furloughed. So for all of those who have previously sent letters but not yet had a response from the individuals, you need to be chasing up for those responses. It doesn't have to be a lengthy response. It could be simply I agree or agreed. as long as you can clearly make out who the individual is you're dealing with. So you don't need to send out new letters. You can simply refer to ones you've previously given or email to them. But you do need to get that response, and that's quite an important point going forward. In terms of the amount to be recovered then, as we kind of understood, it is regular wages, regular salary, and you must disregard anything that falls out of that. You can claim for payments you've not yet made under the scheme. So if you've held off making the payments but anticipate paying the staff under the scheme once you've got the money in from HMRC, then you can claim that money in advance. But you cannot make payment under the scheme for any sums that are conditional on a matter. So if you've made payment of furlough pay conditional on HMRC paying out to you, then you need to change that letter. You need to change that agreement with the employee, because you cannot claim money in those circumstances. Finally, and very frustratingly, the direction given by Rishi Sunak does not confirm anything at all about annual leave, whether you can make employees take annual leave whilst they're on furlough leave or whether you can't. And that is sort of one of the main last bits of this jigsaw, is to understand that point. But unfortunately, they didn't take the opportunity to clarify that on this occasion. So ultimately, these remain open to change. The guidance can still change, but I think now we have this formally from the Chancellor, it is unlikely that we will get much more change on this. Hopefully some clarification on the few outstanding points, particularly holiday. But generally, I think we are now at the point where we've got the scheme that we have got. This is what's going to be processed, and hopefully from the 20th of April, we'll have the web portal up and running, and from around the 30th of April, the first payments will start hitting bank accounts. So if you've got any queries, any questions about anything in this webinar or furlough leave scheme more generally, you'll see my details on the screen. Please do contact, and it'd be great to hear from you. Thank you.